Connect Product Webinar. This is probably one of my favorite hours each month, where we get to come together as a global LifeWave community and to discuss exciting product informations and things that are happening in the world of LifeWave. We just closed out another incredible month of seeing the impact that you and LifeWave products and opportunity are having around the world. We recently just held an amazing regional event in Mexico where hundreds of LifeWave brand partners were in attendance. We're seeing incredible growth there and so many lives being impacted and so many people sharing the light with others. One quick announcement: qualification period for the regional incentive trip ends October 19th. So there's still a bunch of time, a few weeks to finish strong. And congratulations to all of you that have already qualified. Well, as you know from looking at your calendar, today is October 1st, which means we are only a few weeks away from our global conference. This is going to be the largest gathering in LifeWave's history. It is an event you truly won't want to miss. Incredible announcements, introductions, experiences, trainings, education, world-class iconic entertainment, and so much more. I know we are excitedly working here at the office. I think we might start bringing our sleeping bags here for the next couple of weeks, just to make sure we get everything done to deliver an incredible experience for each of you. And we look forward to seeing you there. And now, for the reason that we're really all here today, we get to continue our product and wellness learning from none other than our founder and chairman, David Schmidt. So as always, go ahead and post any questions in the chat about the health and wellness topic and product information that David's going to be sharing today, and we will do our best to answer those questions. But now I would like to turn the time over to our founder and chairman, David Schmidt. David.
Wayne, it's great to see you.
It's great to see you as well. So
Yeah.
I have one quick question for you. What are you most excited about? Conference coming up here in the next few weeks. What are you most looking forward to?
Well, that's a difficult question to answer. You know, last year was incredibly special because it was our 20-year anniversary, and we had a ton of surprises in store. And I would say last year, the really exciting thing was that our brand partners had no idea what they were about, this incredible gift they were about to get. And of course, we had the original Blues Brothers there. We had lots of surprises and gifts for our brand partners, for our leaders. We had a lot of new information on X2O. And of course, we had this magnificent drone event where we had 800 drones fly in and put on a show. And of course, we closed on Saturday with Gwen Stefani and Maroon 5. And so we set an entire, plus we had an experience center there and a VIP lounge that we've never had before. So we took the standards of our event to a whole new level. So it's going to be very difficult to pull off, you know, a surprise of that magnitude this year. But of course, we have almost double the number of people at this event. So I'd say first, I'm really looking forward to getting together as a community to celebrate the amazing community that we have, all of the good that we're doing in the world. And that in and of itself is something to look forward to. But we have a lot of new information that we're sharing. There's one surprise in particular that I'm not going to ruin. But as you know, there's a project that we've been working on to build awareness globally about LifeWave. It's turned out great. Our brand partners have no idea what it is. They have no idea what's coming, and we get to share that with them at conference. So I think that's something that definitely stands out of what I'm looking forward to. Sharing.
For sure. Last year's was truly incredible. It was an event like none other I had ever seen. And I thought that it would be impossible to create an even greater experience, but being fortunate to sit through these planning meetings and all of the time, energy and resources that you've put into this event. And I know it still hasn't happened yet, but I think LifeWave has outdone itself. And it's an event that we truly don't want to miss. I'm really excited for all the great information, the products, the training, the lifestyle information, all that you're going to share there. Also, we know about one of the absolute iconic entertainers that are going to be there, which has been a bucket list item for me. I've never seen him, but it's something I've always wanted to do in my life. I get to check that box thanks to you,
That's
and thanks
awesome.
to LifeWave. But as same as you, I'm looking forward really just to being there as a community, and I get so much information and energy from feeling the spirit and the passion that all of our brand partners have for LifeWave and the products. So thank
And
you
of
for making
course,
this happen.
oh, absolutely. And of course, the private screening that we're going to have,
Yes.
the documentary on X2O is something that we're going to do Friday evening, and that's going to be an entirely new event for LifeWave. We've never had anything like this. No other network marketing company has ever done anything like this before. And it's simply a way that we're reinvesting into our community, into the direct selling industry to build awareness about what it is that we're doing. And of course, we're going to build an entire program around this so we can generate leads for our brand partners to make it easier for them to build the business. So, of course, our community, after waiting a year now, got to see a trailer. Now they're actually going to get to be the first at this private screening to see this documentary. So that's going to be really enjoyable as well.
Yeah, it is so moving. It is so powerful. I know all the brand partners are going to love it. And as you mentioned, so many millions of people have experienced LifeWave products and been exposed to the opportunity. And this is just going to bring so much more attention and awareness. And it really does an amazing job of communicating who you are, your process, your passion, and the difference that you are making in the world today. So I know everyone's going to love it. I can't wait for Friday night.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's get started with with our training today. Thank you, Wayne. I appreciate that. So it's great to have time with you all here today, and thank you for taking time out of your day to be here as we talk about the immune system and what you can do starting today to improve the health and the function of your immune system. Now, I want to remind everyone, especially those of you that are new to our community, that I am not a medical doctor. I'm not a doctor of any type. We do not provide medical advice. Uh, we simply provide this as information that you can take to your healthcare practitioner and make an informed decision about what's right for you, since everyone's situation is different. So I thought I would start this off a little bit differently to spice things up. I'll share screen here. And this is an article that came out in less than a month ago, having to do that scientists uncover a shocking new property of everyday ice. And the reason to bring this up is to not inform or educate you about the properties of ice. It's to say that uh, shouldn't we be a little bit surprised after thousands of years that human beings are discovering new properties in water and ice? And this should really open up our minds. What it means is that if we can today in 2025 make a new discovery about ice, then we should really question everything in the world around us. Maybe things aren't the way that we perceive them as, and things that we take for granted, simple everyday things like water, maybe there's a lot more to learn about the world around us. So when we go to school, when we get an education, at which is all great and that's all important, um, we should take this as this is what we know today. This is what we believe to be the truth today. But truth is always evolving in the face of new information. In this particular case, what was found was that this has to do with the piezoelectric property. So if we take a crystal like quartz and we apply pressure to it, it's going to generate electricity, high voltage, as a matter of fact. And this is a phenomena called piezoelectricity. There's also another phenomena called triboelectricity, which means if you take materials and you rub them together, they will produce an electrical field. Triboelectricity is usually associated with static electricity, like walking across the floor and getting a high voltage around your body. Well, what was interesting about ice is that the crystals that make up water, when they're frozen into a block of ice, if you apply pressure as you normally would in a piezoelectric material, nothing happens. But what was found is that if you take ice and you bend it, the orientation of the crystals change, and now it does, in fact, produce an electrical field. So, very interesting new discovery. Um, maybe, maybe not. We'll have to see if there's any practical applications that come from this. But what's exciting to me is that if we can still be discovering new properties in water and ice, um, then the capacity to learn new things about everyday materials changes in a very, very positive way. Okay, so what does this have to do with the immune system? Well, I'm glad you asked. We're going to talk about oxygen because there is, if you don't take away anything else from our time together today, um, I would like you to be thinking about the duality of the immune system. And what I mean by that is we have oxygen or reactive oxygen species on one side of the equation, and we have antioxidants on the other side. And they both play an incredibly important role in maintaining your health. As a matter of fact, we can use this information to develop a strategy for healing disease. So I'm going to use an example. I'm going to be speaking now about products that we do not sell. So I'm going to use my right of freedom of speech to talk to you about oxygen therapies that are used to treat diseases like cancer. Now, um, very often I will receive emails from our brand partners, and they will ask about uh, themselves or someone in their family who's suffering with cancer, and what can they do? There are many natural alternatives. So if you're someone that's suffering with cancer, even if you're in a later stage, there are so many numerous options that are available to you. For example, very high doses of vitamin D, 50,000 IUs per day, 100,000 IUs per day of vitamin D has been shown to have very powerful anti-cancer effects. Vitamin D also, as a matter of fact, is a very powerful antiviral. It will surround a virus and make it very difficult for that virus to replicate. Uh, in the literature, I once read about a clinical study in which a doctor was taking his cancer patients and exposing them to sunlight during the summer to elevate their vitamin D, and he was finding that they were going into remission from their cancer. This study was done in New York, as I recall. So this is to say that very often some things that are common that we might not think of or that we take for granted can be very powerful when it comes to treating different diseases like cancer. So first, we're going to start with one half of the equation here, which is with oxygen. And as it turns out, there's a number of ways to use oxygen and oxygen therapies for improving the immune response and for acting as a therapeutic agent, something as simple as oxygen. So we're going to go down to this drawing over here, and we're going to look at three of these oxygen radicals. One of them, it's a little bit small. First one is H2O2, which is hydrogen peroxide. So hydrogen peroxide is nothing more than water and oxygen. And so when hydrogen peroxide comes into the presence of a catalyst like silver, or it comes in contact with a virus, bacteria, or a cancer cell, it breaks down into water and oxygen, and it releases energy in the form of heat. And this hydrogen peroxide radical can directly kill these pathogens. Um, we also have hypochlorite, which is oxygen and chlorine. There's also ozone that's produced in the immune system. So the important thing here that I want you to be thinking about is that when we talk about using oxygen as a therapy, as a way to treat disease, to support the immune system, this is how the human body does it in our own immune system. So we're introducing something that is non-toxic. We're working with nature, and there's not going to be any type of side effects as long as it's administered properly. So one of the methods that we have here for treatment is hyperbaric oxygen. This is something that's very common. It's been around a long time. And simply what you do is you go into a chamber, medical grade oxygen is put into the chamber, and it's been used to treat an entire variety of medical conditions. It's approved for that. So you could go to a clinic and a medical doctor, if they have the equipment, can administer hyperbaric oxygen therapy. So let's say that you're someone with an impaired cardiovascular system, you have impaired circulation. One of the advantages to this is that you can get oxygen into the tissues to promote healing. So, for example, this would be very, very useful with someone with diabetes, someone with diabetic neuropathy. Oxygen will also help ramp up energy production in the cell. This can assist in wound healing. And also, this bullet point down here, I want to draw your attention to is that hyperbaric oxygen therapy helps block the action, of harmful bacteria and strengthens the body's immune system. So we don't have to rely on drugs. We don't have to rely on vaccinations. I'm not putting those things down at all. There is a time and place for those things. What I'm saying is that if you have someone that's only promoting a drug for a solution or only promoting a vaccine for a solution, that's not true. There are other therapies which are natural and inexpensive and don't have toxic side effects that we can look at. And incredibly, oxygen is one of those things. So that's one of your options. And in fact, hyperbaric oxygen therapy has been used by medical doctors as a foundation in cancer therapy. All right, let's take a look at another one, which would be hydrogen peroxide, which we're just mentioning a little bit before. And what I wanted to draw your attention to here is that this article is back from 2020, where this was being looked at as a treatment method for COVID-19. Now, for those of you here in the United States, I would be willing to bet that we could not find anything coming from Dr. Fauci, if you remember him, on the use of hydrogen peroxide in treating COVID-19. As you remember, what we were told was that the only way we could get out of the pandemic was to flatten the curve, and we were told the only way out was through vaccination. Well, right over here, this is extremely interesting. Therefore, washing the mouth nasal cavity with hydrogen peroxide may enhance those local innate responses to viral infections and help protect against the current coronavirus pandemic. Why wasn't this on the news? And in case you're thinking this was something very exotic, not so. I'm going to skip down now to the end, and you can just look at this link for yourself. The URL is up over here. As a starting dose to test, they had proposed 1.5% hydrogen peroxide nasal spray. Now, what you get in most countries over the counter is 3% hydrogen peroxide. So, what they're suggesting is that to reduce the risk of the spread of COVID-19, simply wash your mouth out with 3% hydrogen peroxide and put 1.5% concentration up your nose to kill the coronavirus. And if you read through the study, it says exactly that hydrogen peroxide has antiviral properties, including right over here to coronaviruses. So our health authorities were not informing us of this incredibly simple, inexpensive, non-toxic method of protecting ourselves from COVID-19. This is not okay. Why not use this? Hydrogen peroxide costs pennies. So why not recommend this if it's going to save lives? It's a worthwhile question to ask. Hydrogen peroxide has also been used to treat other viral infections, destroy bacteria, and as a method of treating cancer. I would not self-administer this for cancer therapy. I would consult with your medical doctor on best practice for that. Now, there have been many books written about the use of ozone therapy. There is a gentleman, lost track of him. His name is Ed McCabe, and he was actually put in jail for writing books on the use of medical grade ozone and its use in treating a whole variety of diseases, including cancer. So I don't have any affiliation with this doctor. So this is just for your own information, but it's just simply a reference on some of the benefits involved with ozone therapy as a treatment for a variety of diseases. But ozone is O3. It is simply three atoms of oxygen, and it acts as an oxygen radical. And when it comes in contact with viruses, bacteria, cancer cells, it causes those pathogens to explode on contact. And again, the only byproduct from this is oxygen. So it's incredibly safe when done properly. What happens is you take blood out of the body, 200 milliliters of blood, you mix it with medical grade ozone. It forms a compound called an ozonide that is injected back into the body, and then the ozone goes to work. So this is when people have a disease like cancer, this could form the foundation for other therapies. So you would use this as a very basic therapy. For some people, that's all they need. But you would want to have a healthy diet with this, exercise, drinking clean water, supplementing where necessary, and so forth. Again, that's for your doctor to determine. Okay, so that's one half of the equation is with respect to oxygen therapies. But let's look at the other side now. And let's take a look at this from the perspective of nutrition. What can you do in your diet through supplementation? We have a product called Celergize. We have antioxidant patches like the glutathione patch, carnosine. X39 has antioxidant properties, and so forth. What can we do here? So, first thing is to understand what is the role of antioxidants in the immune system. Well, there's multiple responses actually. One is that antioxidants are going to protect cells in your body from free radicals that are out in the environment. So this could have to do with the toxic side effect of drugs from exposure to UV light, cigarette smoke, pesticides, herbicides that we're exposed to in our food and water, in our air. We need antioxidants to support the health and the metabolism of the cell and protect us from these exogenous chemicals. In addition, just the act of converting food over into energy is going to produce reactive oxygen species, so we need antioxidants in our cells to protect against this. One of the things that's kind of exciting is that over here, specifically supplementation, even with common vitamins like vitamin C, E, vitamin A, increase the activation of cells involved in tumor immunity in the elderly. So this would mean that if people are really focused on their diet and basic supplementation, they can improve their immune response. Sometimes for prevention, it doesn't take anything exotic. It just requires doing some of the basics. Although sometimes the exotics are good, but I would focus on the basics first. Okay, now one of the things that's part of the basics is glutathione. Glutathione is the body's master antioxidant. It's made in the liver, but it's found throughout the entire body. It's a tripeptide, so it's made from 3 amino acids. So provided that you get those amino acids in your diet, glutamic acid, glycine, cysteine, then you have the ability to make glutathione. We include, since many people, especially vegans and vegetarians, may not get enough of the amino acid cysteine. Cysteine is a sulfur-containing amino acid. It's found in things like eggs. We included N-acetylcysteine in Celergise. It's a bioavailable form of cysteine, of that amino acid, so it helps support the body's levels of glutathione. Of course, we also have a patch to elevate glutathione, and that works extraordinarily well. But the important thing here is that when we're looking at immune function and a way to support healthy inflammatory response, help manage reactive oxygen species, glutathione would be a great place to start. You could build an entire health strategy around this. Now, one of the minerals that is in Celergise that's required to form glutathione is selenium. Selenium can be found in your diet, but these days the soil is depleted in selenium, so we decided to include it in Celergise. But a good natural source of selenium would be things like Brazil nuts. Just 3 or 4 Brazil nuts each day. Have your daily amount of selenium. Selenium is important in the immune system's ability to protect against infection. Now, selenium works 2 different ways. One way, it's going to work all on its own. It can be toxic to cancer cells. As a matter of fact, if you go back to the 1970s, to the book Life Extension by Dirk Pearson and Sandy Shaw, they were recommending up to 800 micrograms daily of selenium in the treatment of breast cancer. That might be a pretty high dose these days with what we've learned. Maybe half of that. You might want to talk, if you have breast cancer, you might want to talk to your doctor about 400 micrograms of selenium as part of your treatment protocol. But it's been found that selenium can be toxic to cancer cells, specifically in breast cancer, and selenium will help convert cysteine over into glutathione and form these selenoproteins that have a variety of different functions in the body. For men, selenium plays a role in the formation of testosterone. So there's some good reasons why you want to get selenium in your diet. And here, just for reference, since I knew I was going to bring this up, I wanted to just include an article on this if you should be interested in reading about it. If you're someone that's interested in cancer prevention or cancer treatment, here you can get some information on how selenium is being used in this way and also some recommendations. And so again, it would, if you used an oxygen therapy as a base protocol and then included nutrients like selenium and other things we're going to be talking about in your overall strategy, that would be a pretty good approach. Okay, now, of course, a mineral that we talk a lot about here at LifeWave is copper, because X39 is our top selling product, and X39 helps the body produce copper peptide, GHKCU, another tripeptide that binds with copper. And copper all by itself will help the function of the immune system. We included 2 milligrams of copper in Celergize because it's a little bit difficult to get enough copper in your diet. So we wanted to make sure that people were getting enough. And now, for example, in some cultures, like over in Romania, you might find people consuming liver each day or liver several times per week. You could get as much as 30 milligrams of copper in one serving of liver. Chocolate, dark chocolate, is very rich in copper. Wheatgrass is a good source of copper. Lobster is a good source of copper. So there are ways to get this in your diet, but maybe not on a daily basis. So we wanted to include that in Celergize. But a good thing to bring up here, this was interesting. We wouldn't normally associate copper supplementation as a means to regulate the immune response, but for treating orthopedic disorders. And here we go, and we have a study on that. So this was interesting. Serum copper deficiency is associated with things like arthritis and osteoporosis and bone defects. So supplementing with copper can be used to help maintain our health and support the health of the immune system. It also, this was found out in ancient Rome, that when soldiers would be injured, they would pack the injury site with copper because it would kill pathogens on contact. So this goes back where this was known thousands of years ago. In addition, people used to put their water into bowls made from copper so they could get the copper ions into the water. So here's a separate article. I want to make sure I leave enough time here for questions. But again, here's another article which shows the connection between the immune system and copper. What's important here is that with respect to the function of copper and immunity, it says, of which little is known about the direct mechanism of action. And they're talking here about neutrophils, which are white blood cells, that part of the immune system. So this is interesting. So again, something like what we were talking about with water, new discoveries are being made about water. Something as basic as copper, its ability to support the health and function of the immune system, its interaction with white blood cells, The exact method of action isn't known, but what is known is that copper is going to support the proliferation of immune cells within the body. So if people have a deficiency of copper, the immune system can become compromised. And again, here, another article on copper, microenvironments in the human body, and patterns of adaptation relative to bacteria. So, in other words, harmful bacteria can attempt to adapt to copper levels because the copper is toxic to those organisms. So, again, another good reason why we should be aware of our daily intake of copper. Now, I wanted to pull this up because I've always found this information a little suspect, but that's just me. This is from the National Institute of Health. Now, when we look at what are the dietary recommendations of copper, we will see here for individuals over the age of 19 that it's 900 micrograms per day. So 900 micrograms is just less than 1 milligram. 1,000 micrograms is 1 milligram. The reason I bring that up is because back in the 1950s, the daily recommended dosing for copper was 3 milligrams per day, so about 3 times what it is per day. I find this a little suspect because when we look at the clinical literature, what we see is that 10 milligrams per day is non-toxic, and a few milligrams per day provides significant health benefits. So I don't know why this recommendation of 900 micrograms by National Institute of Health, by FDA, why that would be so low. Now, I'll take a sip of water. Now, another nutrient that we included in Celergize is citrulline. It's an amino acid, and I just wanted to make a honorable mention here because we could have an entire LifeWave Connect just based around the health benefits of nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is really pretty interesting because first of all, it's a gas that's made in the body. It's a vasodilator. So that means it's going to relax the blood vessels, open them up, and we get better blood flow. So nitric oxide is recognized as something very important for people that have hypertension, high blood pressure, impaired cardiovascular health, erectile dysfunction. Nitric oxide is necessary to help improve blood flow. And L-citrulline will convert over into arginine in the body, and arginine converts over into nitric oxide. A natural source of citrulline is from watermelons. But in any case, nitric oxide is a gas, so it's transitory, it's made, and then it's gone. Among other things, other than acting to support cardiovascular health, it plays a role in supporting the health of energy production in the body, regulating inflammation, and supporting the health of the immune system. So I thought that was worth an honorable mention. Another thing that we included in Celergize is Cyanfox, and this is an extract from sea buckthorn berry. And it is thought that Cyanfox has the highest ORAC value, highest antioxidant value of any plant. And so what Cyanfox has been shown to do is protect mitochondrial function. So again, when we're one of the things that we want to do to help stop and reverse human aging is improve mitochondrial function. And when we ramp up mitochondrial function, it will naturally produce reactive oxygen species. So by elevating antioxidants like glutathione and by using natural antioxidants like Cyanthox, sea buckthorn berry extract, we can support the health and the vitality of the mitochondria, which in turn supports immune function. Now, finally, I want to get to 3 natural materials that I would put on my favorite list. These would be nutrients that I travel with. So if I find myself in Europe and there is a pandemic outbreak, I'm prepared with patches and everything else. So one of these things is going to be garlic. Now, very often, if you have, let's say, a medical doctor that is trained in Western medicine, when you talk about natural compounds like garlic, they're immediately going to laugh it off and blow it off. But the fact of the matter is that when we examine this scientifically, we do find that natural materials like garlic have antiviral, antibacterial properties, and they can, in fact, support the overall health of the immune system. Garlic, incredibly powerful. It also acts as a natural blood thinner. And in fact, garlic will increase, when combined with vitamin C, can as much as triple the body's levels of nitric oxide. So no wonder that garlic has been known for centuries as to be a way of improving cardiovascular health. So we find out scientifically that there's a basis for that. How about that? Now, in clinical studies, it was shown that olive leaf extract is actually a better aromatase inhibitor than Arimidex. So when women have breast cancer, their medical doctors will often put them on Arimidex. And so you have estrogen, and it can go down 2 different metabolic pathways, one which is harmless and the other which is inflammatory. And it's the inflammatory metabolite of estrogen that's responsible for breast cancer. So again, a woman has breast cancer, she can go on an oxygen therapy that will directly kill the cancer cells and then use a spectrum of different antioxidants to help regulate the inflammatory response. Well, here with olive leaf extract, a natural compound, not only is it a natural aromatase inhibitor to inhibit the conversion of the estrogen over into the metabolite that's causing the breast cancer in the first place, but it also acts as an antioxidant and will help manage that inflammatory response. So olive leaf extract is definitely something to look at in addition to other uses that it has. I would also take this with olive oil, by the way, as the blending olive leaf extract into olive oil aids in the delivery. It gets into the cells where it's needed. And then finally, and then we'll go to some questions, oregano oil. Oregano oil, this could be the king of natural compounds when it comes to antimicrobial. It has antioxidant properties, anti-inflammatory, directly kills viruses, bacteria, cancer cells. It can even, I've met doctors that have told me that oil of oregano can even neutralize the venom of spiders. Brown recluse, the brown recluse spider that we have here in the United States, their venom is flesh eating and can actually eat away parts of the human body. But you put some oregano oil into that, totally neutralizes that venom. So it's good to carry that with you. So this is all to say that when it comes to supporting the health and the vitality of the immune system, we can first simplify this into the 2 different parts: the reactive oxygen species that we both want to control and use therapeutically in treatment of different disease. And on a daily basis, we maintain the health of the immune system with antioxidants, and we have a whole spectrum of antioxidants to choose from. And so we should be thinking about a blend. And a lot of this we can get just by taking Celergize. So, Wayne, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, David. That was incredible. Everybody was commenting such amazing information. They said they all have to go back and watch it 3 or 4 times to make sure that they're fully metabolizing this great information. You talked about a lot of things that impact the immune system, ways to support the immune system. What are some of the key contributors that negatively, like from a lifestyle standpoint, negatively impact our ability to repel any potential sickness and ailment? Can you talk a little bit about sleep, situational stress, some of these lifestyle elements that can hinder our immune ability?
I'm going to start with the big one. And I have a firm belief that Jesus was the first anti-aging health practitioner. We know he was a magnificent healer because of the power of God. But he recommended and in fact instructed that we love one another. So if we all loved one another, it would have, of course, an incredible effect on humanity. I wish Vladimir Putin would love one another, and then we could get out of killing all these innocent people in Ukraine. But it's such practical advice, because when we are in a state of love, not that we're going to be all the time. I had something happen this morning that upset me. So, we're not going to stay in that state all the time, but it should be a mindset. And what happens is that this reduces stress throughout our bodies. We find we're giving gratitude towards others. And so to answer your question, it's the stress response that we're concerned about here. When people live in a state of stress, state of anger, these lower emotions, it has a direct physiological response. And over time, we're going to live in people that live in a chronic state of stress, live in a chronic state of inflammation, and this damages healthy tissue. It's even been demonstrated to damage the DNA and cause strand breaks in the DNA. So by far, I would put stress on top of that. Now, there's all different ways to manage stress. You can have a positive stress, such as exercise, getting proper sleep, of course, meditation, taking time to give gratitude, supplementing where necessary. Of course, we have the Eon patch for stress reduction. There's a whole variety of tools that are available for managing stress, but I would put that right at the top.
I think that is really telling, David, on the spirit you have and how you approach these health challenges that we all face. We know that we can't prevent stressful situations, but how we respond to those situations and how we react can really have a huge impact. And I think that's an incredible lesson for all of us to
Yeah, I
internalize.
want to make a comment on that too, Wayne.
Please, yeah.
Anger is something that we often think of as not being good or healthy, and we don't want to live in a state of anger. But what I would suggest is that anger can be a good thing when we are looking at fighting back against injustice. So when we see children that are being harmed, when we see innocent people that are being killed, we should be angry about those things. And the point is to use that for motivation to do something good in the world, to take action, not to sit back passively, but to say, what good can come from this? Years ago, I wouldn't say I got angry about it, but I was frustrated and upset that we would see people in a crisis and we would donate money to help these people in need. And it could often take weeks for our donations to get to the people in need. And I used that as a motivation to start a company manufacturing a new drone technology where now we can deliver medical goods to those people right away. So sometimes incredibly good things can come out of initially what's a response of anger, as long as we don't stay in that state.
Or that I'd never thought of it that way. That's such an incredible perspective that we can use that when that certain emotion comes into us, we can stew on it, we can push it down, allow it to have negative health benefits, but we can also use it as a catalyst for good, for change, and to increase our health. I'd never thought of it that way. You mentioned exercise, and there was a question in there. Obviously, there's incredible benefits from exercise, whether it's cardio, resistance training, all forms. As it relates to antioxidants and oxidative stress, and it also create stress within our bodies, and what can we do from a recovery standpoint to relieve any of that and remove the negative benefits of exercise while maintaining those critically important health benefits.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be giving I'm going to be providing a session on
Okay, well, I don't want to steal
exercise.
any thunder, so
No, 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 not at all. It's a fun subject. And I personally, I love exercise. I love being able to stay fit and in shape. And so I can stay active with my family and my friends. I love that. And it's a little bit, when you're doing things like sprints. I've been the past half a year, we've been engaged in a new clinical study, and I've wanted to try this new method of doing sprints, which has been incredible. And I kind of feel sometimes like this past 6 months, I've gotten a superpower because I walk rapidly through airports and work long hours, and I just never get physically fatigued. But it's because of the specific type of training that I'm doing, which I want to share with our community. But this is to say that um, there is what we would say a minimum effective dose on exercise. And it's all dependent upon what your goal is. So, and it also depends on age. So, if someone just simply has a goal of, hey, I want to stay in shape, I want to remain active, I don't need to be a professional athlete or bodybuilder, the minimum effective dose is incredibly small. 5 minutes per week of resistance training is all it takes to build muscle and build strength. 10 minutes, well, actually, 80 seconds of cardio per week is all it takes as a minimum effective dose if you're doing it the right way. I'll get into a lot more detail at conference about this. Now, that's not going to turn you into a bodybuilder. There was a phenomenal bodybuilder in the 1970s. His name was Serge Nubret. And he had, I think, the best physique I've ever seen on a man ever. And he had a very unique way of training. But he would exercise in the gym several hours per day, and he would exercise up to 40 sets per body part, which is insane. Most people, they're trying to stay in shape, it's 3 or 4 sets. Even professional bodybuilders like Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day, 10, 12, 15 sets per exercise, per body part, rather. And he was up around 30 to 40 sets. He passed away in his early 70s because this creates enormous metabolic stress. So this is to say that when we're talking about exercise, what is the what is the goal? Is someone intending to be a bodybuilder, an Olympic athlete? They just trying to stay in shape? Because that depends on the outcome. And the longer the duration of exercise, the greater the stress that's placed on the immune system. So I would say those individuals, like bodybuilders and professional athletes, may want to think about uh, taking antioxidants several times per day, 3 times per day, along with the patches. And there are some antioxidants that you get in a time release form, like alpha lipoic acid, where the delivery is over a period of 8 hours. Um, but those individuals should be very concerned about the long-term effects of exercising to that intensity, because it gets to a point where it's detrimental.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm really excited to learn more about this at conference. As you look at the LifeWave product portfolio, you talked about Celergize. Looking at it, the morning versus evening, all of the great benefits that the patches provide. Coming X2O, what are those that you feel, if someone is focused really on supporting their immune system, what are those that you would really put at the top of that list for that specific benefit?
Well, in terms of patches, there's a number of interesting choices. I would go with X39, glutathione, and Eon for a whole variety of reasons. And the Celergize morning formula um, is definitely targeted at supporting the health of the immune system for all the reasons why we've just covered. The evening formula will support the health of the immune system, but in an entirely different way. But if someone was on a limited budget and they were just looking at a few key things, um, then I would definitely say X39, Eon, Celergize, and they could add in glutathione. All depends on what it is that they're trying to do.
Great, thank you. There was another question on oxygen. If you don't have maybe access to going into a hyperbaric chamber, what are some other maybe more natural, potentially less costly ways to increase oxygen and oxygen intake naturally?
Well, I'll give you a method that's free, which is exercise. If people are engaged in cardio, and if the cardio is intense enough, such as with sprinting, they can generate a lot of hydrogen peroxide and ozone inside of their own bodies. And exercise will definitely have a phenomenal effect on the overall health of the immune system. Another thing that is important to keep in mind is that an enemy of the immune system would be visceral fat. So the subcutaneous fat, of course, is right under the skin, but the visceral fat is dangerous because this is around our organs, and visceral fat is metabolically active and will produce an inflammatory response. And of course, we know that when people have excess visceral fat, it increases their risk for cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. So by um, exercising, and by the way, someone that's overweight, they definitely should work with their doctor and personal trainer. They don't want to go out and take a chance of injuring themselves or worse, and they should start slowly. But eventually, when you work up to it, um, it doesn't require a lot. For example, even just two 20-second sprints twice per week is enough to make a significant metabolic change in the body. And that will, by default, increase body's levels of reactive oxygen species in a healthy way. Uh, we could do another LifeWave Connect on this, but there are ways to breathe oxygen through the intestine. Um, Yeah, some of these would get into making medical claims, but I would say those, if people so look, they'll find there are ways to get oxygen into the body other than things that are expensive.
Thank you for that. And last question. I know we only have about a minute left. Um, the immune system, having a strong immune system, is obviously important throughout the entire year. Is there an annual cycle where we need to be more concerned, concentrate on it more? Obviously, we're into fall. We're spending more time indoors. Is this something that we need to be thinking about, especially more now as we move into fall and into the holidays, um, where we need to be putting more effort, greater effort into supporting our immune systems?
No, this should be a lifestyle. And this should be something where we take an introspective look at what it is that we're doing in our lives. Where are we going? I'll give you an example. Let's say someone is in their 20s or 30s. Many young people do not think about saving money, and they don't have a plan for, what happens when they turn 60 or 70. Will they have enough money saved for their retirement? Many people aren't thinking about that. And here in the United States, 35% of the population only has $500 in their bank account. So that's an enormous percentage. It's really a shame. And so what this means is that many people don't stop to think about a plan for their health and where they're going to end up 30, 40 years from now. So all the big killers, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, they're by and large, for the majority of the population, they're preventable. And so if we make a daily commitment to eating healthy, to exercise on a regular basis, to staying away from the things that we know are harmful, to supplement, patch, to do all these things, then when something like a pandemic comes up, we say, okay, our bodies are healthy. We're in the low risk category. Being physically active, being in shape, reduces all-cause mortality. When people get over 70, one of the big risk factors is sarcopenia, loss of muscle, osteopenia, weakening of the bones. People fall, they're in an accident, they break a bone, maybe they recover, maybe they don't. So the single best thing that we can do for ourselves is have a daily plan. I'm going to be covering this at conference, a daily plan. And but the takeaway from this is that if we make this commitment to ourselves, then we dramatically reduce our risk of disease. We improve our chances of success should we get an injury. And if a virus comes along, we're in a much, much better condition to handle it. So life can throw surprises our way, and we're prepared.
It definitely is a continual and comprehensive process. Make sure that our bodies are as healthy as they possibly can be. David, thank you for sharing all this incredible information. We're so lucky that we get to hear product information from you twice this month with conference and the webinar as well. We can't wait to learn more. Thank you for all you do for us, for sharing this inspiration, for inspiring us to be better, and for bringing these incredible technologies to the world.
Thanks, Wayne. Thank you, everybody. Great spending time.
Thank you.
Thank you.